under €2. 6 people fed. No cream, no flour, no blender. This is the soup that kept American families alive during the Great Depression. 3 ingredients: potatoes, onions, water, and one technique that turns all of it into something thick, rich, and filling with nothing added. Stay to the end because most people skip the one step that makes the difference between a bowl of hot water with potato chunks and an actual soup. Today I want to walk you through every single step the same way they would have done it. So let us get into it, starting with the potatoes, because this is where most people make their first mistake. What I always reach for is a floury variety: Maris Piper, Russet, King Edward, not waxy, floury. That matters, and I will show you exactly why in a moment. Start with 1.5 kilograms, 2 large onions, 3 rashers of streaky bacon. If you do not have it, 2 tablespoons of lard works the same way. The bacon is for fat and flavor, not bulk. 1.5 liters of water, salt, pepper, 1 bay leaf. That is the whole recipe. Now here is the part that trips up almost everyone the first time. Do not discard the bacon fat after the rashers are cooked. This is where most people go wrong. They tip the fat away out of habit, but the fat is not just flavoring here. It is the entire flavor base of the soup. Everything that goes in after it depends on what stays in that pot. Step 1. Render the bacon. Pot on medium heat. Bacon goes in dry. No oil, no butter. The bacon renders its own fat. Watch the bottom of the pot. Fat starts to pool as the bacon cooks. 4 to 5 minutes until the pieces are golden and crispy. Out comes the bacon onto a plate. Everything else stays exactly where it is. That fat sitting in the bottom of the pot is the entire flavor base of this soup. Depression-era cooks understood something most people have forgotten. Nothing gets wasted, not a drop. The soup tastes like something because of what stays in that pan, not because of what gets added later. Do not wipe the pot. Do not pour the fat away. Leave every drop exactly where it is. Step 2. Cook the onions. Finely chopped onions into the fat, medium heat. Stir every couple of minutes. Not golden, not brown. Soft, sweet, collapsed. 8 minutes minimum. The onions absorb the bacon fat as they cook. By the time they are done, they are glossy and sweet. Onion that goes into the water, pale and undercooked, stays sharp in the finished soup no matter how long it simmers. Soft, collapsed onion dissolves into the broth and disappears completely into the flavor base. 8 minutes. Give it the full time. Soft and glossy, not golden. Golden means the sugars have started to caramelize and the flavor goes in a different direction entirely. Step 3. Add potatoes and water. Peel the potatoes first, then cut into 2-centimeter cubes, not smaller, not larger. Uniform size means they all finish cooking at the same time. 2 centimeters, consistent throughout. Potatoes into the pot. 1.5 liters of cold water. Bay leaf. 2 teaspoons of salt. 1 teaspoon of pepper. Right now this looks like nothing. Pale water with potato chunks sitting in it. Give it 25 minutes. Bring it to a full boil, then immediately drop to a steady simmer. Lid on, slightly ajar. As the potatoes cook, they release starch into the water continuously. The liquid starts to cloud, starts to thicken. High heat breaks the potato pieces apart unevenly. The outside crumbles before the center is cooked through. Low and steady is what produces the thick, uniform broth this soup is built around. Stir every 5 minutes. Check the potatoes at 20 minutes by pressing one against the side of the pot with the back of a spoon. If it crushes with no resistance, they are done. If it holds its shape, give it 5 more minutes, low and steady only. A hard boil destroys the texture before the starch has time to build the broth. While the pot is working, what is the cheapest meal you know how to make from scratch? Drop it in the comments. Step 4. The mashing step. This is the most important stage of the whole process. Bay leaf out. No cream, no flour, no blender. Potato masher directly into the pot. Press down and work through roughly half the potatoes. Not all of them, half. The other half stays as chunks. Watch what happens to the broth as you mash. The broken down potato dissolves into the liquid and thickens it from the inside. The soup goes from slightly cloudy to opaque white in front of you. That is the starch releasing from the mashed potato and binding with the liquid. The potato is its own thickener. No additives, no tricks, no cream required. Here is why the potato variety matters so much at this stage. Waxy potatoes hold their structure. Press them and they resist and never fully dissolve into the broth. Floury potatoes break apart immediately and release everything they have into the liquid. That is the difference between a soup that thickens and one that stays thin, regardless of how long it sits on the stove. Stir everything through. The soup should coat the back of a spoon heavily now. Opaque, white, thick, slow to drip when the spoon is lifted. If it is still too thin, mash a few more chunks. If it is too thick, add a splash of hot water. Half only. The unmashed chunks are what give the finished soup its body and texture. Mash everything and you have wallpaper paste. Step 5. Finish and serve. If you have milk, pour in about 200 milliliters now. Stir it in over low heat. Do not boil the soup after the milk goes in. Just warm it through gently. If you do not have milk, and during the Depression most families did not, the soup is completely finished as it is. Taste it, adjust the salt. Into the bowl. Thick, white, steaming. The potato chunks give it body. The mashed potato gives it the thick, almost creamy texture that has no right coming from 3 ingredients. The bacon fat underneath everything gives it flavor that a soup this simple has no right to have. The bacon pieces that have been sitting on the plate go on top now, straight onto the finished soup in the bowl. They have stayed crispy. They go on at the end, not stirred in during cooking, so they do not go soft in the broth. The crispiness against the thick soup is a texture contrast that costs nothing and makes every spoonful better. This cost under €2. This feeds 6 people. During the Depression, this was the whole meal, sometimes the only meal, for days at a time. Thick bread alongside it, that is the full meal. This soup jars cleanly. Make it through the mashing step. Do not add milk before jarring. Ladle it hot into hot sterilized jars. Seal them tight. 6 months on a shelf. When you open it, stir in a splash of milk if you want it richer. 5 minutes on the heat, and it is exactly what you see in this bowl. The families who made this soup 90 years ago were not doing anything they considered remarkable. They were just solving a straightforward problem with the ingredients they had: potatoes, onions, water, fat. Cooking like this was never about convenience. It was about survival. Knowing how to turn 3 cheap ingredients into a filling meal for 6 people is a skill that existed for generations before supermarkets came along and made everyone forget about it. It is still here. It still works. And now you know exactly how to do it. If you want to keep learning techniques like this, make sure to subscribe.